Oh, well, I might need to do that, huh? What's up, guys? It's Teach. I have decided to do a Self-Vod review. I'm going to try making it a series for you guys, which will indirectly motivate myself to actually VOD review myself. So a little backstory about this game. I play like absolute hot garbage. Um, I'm so popular right now. Going into this, 1 second. Um, I went into this game with pretty bad mental, and it only got kind of worse as the game went on. Not that I wouldn't have gotten absolutely gapped on Tracer in this Tracer mirror, but I definitely didn't play my best. So the reason why I wanted to VOD this, usually I wouldn't do a VOD or recommend my people I'm VODing to provide a replay code in which you just absolutely shit the bed or had bad mental, because I feel like there's just going to be a lot of mistakes that you don't normally make. However, because it was a tracer mirror and their tracer was very dominant, I did want to at least see what it was that they were doing that worked so well. Um, there's a context in a lot of things. Our team could have just been worse, so the tracer was getting away with more, or able to do more. But when you compare our stats, I wasn't doing anything. So let's begin.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
So we have similar comps, but we have a Genji while they have an Echo. So I would say that they have the um, advantage comp wise, only because Genji is just really weak, especially into Winston. Um, so right off the bat, I thought it was very weird that my team went this route. But I'll try not to focus on what my team did that was odd or wrong. So I'm a little late to the fight. I'm not really sure why I am. I think it's just because I went straight. So first off, I'm late to the fight, but I think that's not necessarily my fault. I could have adjusted my routing quick enough, but I did not expect my team to go the way they did, so that didn't help. Okay, so again, I'm gonna try doing bird's eye view just so we kind of see what their tracer is doing versus what I'm doing. I like watching fights in slower speed. So here's the first fight. So right now, I'm not really engaged in the fight. I'm not creating an off angle. And I will say that I think because of the routing that my team took and then what I took, kind of threw me off fight plan wise. So that definitely didn't help. But that doesn't excuse the fact that I'm not in off angle. I'm trying to figure out what I should be doing here with my team. I dive with my Winston. Or Genji's down. Notice how that Oblivious, my buddy who I'm doing it with, is in trouble right now. And this is going to come from the fact that their tracer created an off angle where I didn't. They were able to get into our backline where I wasn't as effective. But to be honest, that kind of comes with the route that we took. They had the high ground advantage. They had the angle advantage. They took over this area. I mean, we're at a huge disadvantage right now. I couldn't take because I was rushing in. I couldn't set up my off angle this way because I wanted to meet them in the middle. I couldn't go to the right at the beginning because that'd be way too away from my team and isolated. So it's just bad luck. So let's see what I do. Marking their tracer. Thing about marking their tracer is that all I'm going to do is actually push their tracer into a better position. They already got that position, a good position, and I'm not really going to prevent her from getting anywhere. Because if I mark her, she's just going to actually go up to the stairs or to the left or right, and that's arguably just as good of a position as she is in right now. So I need to just rotate and try to find what I need to do. I don't know what the fuck I need to be doing right now, to be honest. I think the difference between this fight is the routing. I mean, the lane, the routing that my team decided to take at the beginning of the match was just, I don't know what they were thinking. As a Winston main, I kind of understand what he was trying to do, right? But no, I would never go that way. I'm skipping this because I end up dying, but I almost killed the Tracer. Almost. But, you know, I'm just going for trades at that point. Okay, next fight. So, not too far behind my team. So, because my team's already essentially in the position that they want to be for the pre-fight, what does that mean for me as Tracer? I'm going to ask these questions to kind of pause for a second, take this time to pause the video to try to answer it yourself. But again, what does that mean for me as Tracer? The answer to that is that I can't set up my flanks, long flanks. I can't go on a long flank. I could, but there's risks to that. I can't go on a long flank, like take myself out of the fight too much, because the fight's already happening, right? So if the fight hasn't already happened yet, then I can set up myself on a longer flank because I'm not taking myself out of the fight. So wherever I decide to go flank-wise, I potentially will be taking myself out of the fight. So I'm going to minimize my downtime in this scenario. So let's see what happens. So real quick, for an example, fight's already happening. You know, the last thing I would want to do necessarily is I wouldn't want to go over here, in my opinion. Yes, the echo's going to be right there, but the echo can push forward. I'm still taking myself out of the fight, whereas going straight ahead would be fine because I'd be immediately into the fight, or even potentially going around to the left side. But I'm not really sure what I do here. Don't really remember, to be honest. See, okay, I go to the room, that's good. However, I'm not marking the Tracer now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I'm getting potential value. The value that I potentially get right here versus what their Tracer gets right here is kind of negates itself for the most part. However, I do think that it would be better to mark the Tracer because if I'm able to get help with my Lucio or even just without it force her recall, then we're at a huge advantage. So I think we both end up using recall, so we're even now. So essentially their Tracer and my Tracer are doing, we're doing kind of the same thing here. I do get help from their Lucio, so today I'm marking. Our Lucio goes way too deep, but he gets the boop, so works out. Guess he didn't go deep since he finished her off, but I'm just trying to help clean up. I have pulse, so that's why I go the direction that I go. We end up getting rolled in this map. I remember in the beginning I felt like I was doing pretty well. My aim was also real, like I had the shakes, so my mechanics were just god awful. So right now, the fight really hasn't started yet. Well, I guess it has. So let's move it back real quick. Okay, so I'm right here. I need to set up for the flank that I want right now. I'm taking a little too long here. I would argue that this isn't really where I want to go. I think I want to protect the bot, but not play on the bot. Just make it where like they have an easy lane to the bot right now, to our squishies, and we don't want that. So it's up to me to kind of mark this angle. Whereas I can't do that right here. The fight's not going to be taking place right here, at least not yet. So I essentially took myself out of the fight way too long taking this flank. Whereas I need to be right here. Their Tracer's already in the fight. Their Tracer's already getting value. Their Tracer's a little early to the fight, but it's fine. She would be early if I went this way. But because I went the long way and took myself out of the fight, she's not early. Because right now it's really just a 1v1 situation. Yeah, the Kiri is right there, so I guess 2v1. But she's not really in any danger of being like taken out very easily. Whereas if I was right here, we could force a recall and I could potentially chase. Or at least not chase and set up my next flank, whether it's going up there or just chilling right here. But going right here is definitely where I wanted to go. I'm not providing any value here at all. I can't even follow up on my tank. Whereas if I was right here, I would have a little bit easier time following up if he pushes them out here. But I'd definitely be able to mark their tracer and force their recall much sooner, potentially other resources. And not only that, I have to use blinks to get there. So I just wasted 2 blinks and then a recall for nothing. So now we're being forced out. Imagine if I was fighting right here the entire time. This fight would go completely different. Our Genji wouldn't have been jumped like that. I would have been able to mark the tracer, mark their echo, but instead I decided to double blink right here straight into. I essentially went W key like a tank into their face. My recall was forced. I did absolutely nothing that fight, and I cost us that fight. So super winnable fight. They didn't have any ults just yet. They're about to have ults. We did have ult advantage. We're about to have Kitsune. We had Rampage. We could have potentially got an early pick or two if I was positioned correctly, but I wasn't. I decided to go the long route, and I know what I was on the bot. Just keep on going this way. I gotta think proactively there. Yeah, I was on the bot. Oh, let's just go this way, but I need to pay attention to what my team is doing and what is our win condition. The bot was right here. If no one's contesting this angle, then they can get to the bot. This is the direction that they want to go. They don't want to go this direction just yet. The bot is not close enough to where they need their force going that way. So right here is where I needed to set up for the fight, and I didn't, and I cost us this fight. Yeah, and right now I'm just like feeding at this point. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, I'm gonna die. I needed to get out, but I'm just gonna end up potentially, staggering myself a little bit. If the fight was winnable before I went in there, which I don't think it was, I just definitely didn't want to go out here. I needed a kite in that situation. We were down 1. We just used our ults. We don't have any ults anymore. We did have Kiriko's coming up, but we needed to set up for that. So I needed a kite in that situation instead of going in. Let's see what happens next. Our Winston's kind of trolling by not letting himself get killed, but yeah, he got lucky. So here's another situation where I messed up. I end up going to the left side flank. The fight's occurring right here. So where do y'all think I should have gone instead? This is pause. This is a threat. This is the biggest threat damage-wise. The Tracer's not a threat right now. If I come this way, I'm going to have to use resources to close in. Not only that, if I want to mark the Tracer, I'm in a severe disadvantage. So I can't, marking the Tracer is kind of not, it's not an option right now. Theoretically, if me and that Tracer were evenly matched, I would be at a severe disadvantage because they would be able to get help, whereas I would not be able to get help. So where's the correct routing? And it would be going this way, creating the off angle over here, setting up right here, then maybe blinking over here, making my way over here. And this is partly due to just playing sort of autopilot-y. I take this route a lot when the fight's over here. Well, when the bot's over here, because the fight's happening right here. But the fight wasn't happening over here. It was happening right here. So if I just took a second to pay attention with what was going on with the fight, which is incredibly important for any player, I would have known to go this way. but I wasn't really paying attention. I was just kind of autopiloting, and I went the wrong direction. Usually this is a good direction if we're playing more brawly and on point, but we're not. We're playing on this high ground. They've already taken up the space, so I need to come down here and help mark the threats of the fight. That Tracer's not a threat. Yes, they're pushing cart, but winning the fight is more important than contesting cart at this moment. Okay. See, I'm just gonna see. I just get. Not only that, I go way too early. Nobody on my team is taking it. Like, my team is taking some aggro, but not the kind of aggro in which their entire team can't stop what they're doing and come up for me. So that's exactly what happens. So I'm just gonna get forced out. See how this Echo is just living here for free? If I came down here, this Echo would not be just living here for free.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Genji.
It looks like it worked out, but I could have been doing so much more. That Echo could have been killed so much sooner. We could have made something happen so much sooner. And we end up losing, actually. What happens? What happens? What happens? Let's see. Where am I? Whoop, whoop. Or Genji dies pretty early. Our Genji ulted where like he couldn't really do anything. The only person he could go on is the Echo that who has ult, so much more sustain for self-sustain for herself, and she has a cooldown in which to get away from an ulting Genji, making himself super isolated and getting 0 value on his ult. But again, if I was set up correctly, that could have been avoided. But we're past that now. Let's see. Slow it down a bit. Oblivious is beating. Right now, who's our biggest threat? We're playing in the enemy team Kitsune. The biggest threat right now is their monkey because he's right there. Who do I shoot? I should be shooting the monkey right now. Yes, there's squishies right here, but I have an entire team that can follow up on this Winston, and whereas I would have to come up here and shoot, I either stay in the bubble, barely be able to mark them, or come out of the bubble, risk my life, put myself sandwiched between them. Unfortunately, I was forced in the middle of this fight, which is not where I want to be. I should be trying to stay out here, but right now I need to be shooting the Winston. Does their Winston have bubble? Their Winston does have bubble. Okay. Our Winston does not. That was I don't think that was a good bubble. I wasn't really paying attention. Let's see what I do. Sandwiching myself. I need to be shooting their Winston. Their Winston just gets on my backline for free. Gets my carry for free. Oops. It's like, why is it so slow? Why am I feel like I'm playing slow motion? I'm not gonna kill. It's gonna be very difficult to kill either of their squishies right here. Notice how the biggest threat, Winston, gets a kill on our Kiri. Our team did our entire team messed up that fight. I mean, we put ourselves right smack dab in the middle of that entire fight. I don't know. I don't know. It do be like that sometimes. Alright, let's see what happens next fight. So they're pushed up, right? Let's see what I do. Where do I need to be right now? I don't like this spot. This Tracer's trying to get over on this angle. I don't want her angle to be right here. I'm not really going to be able to do anything right here at all. So why is this a mistake where I'm going? Pause. Play. It's because I'm taking myself out of the fight for way too long while their Tracer's getting so much more value. Not only that, when I have my plan obviously was to engage on the Echo. There's no way in hell I'm killing that Echo unless I surprise their entire team in one clipper. I'm putting myself in such a horrible spot. Where do I have to go? I have nowhere to go. And that's probably the biggest difference between me and that Tracer is I was just taking these horrible routings. I was autopiloting. I wasn't really focused. I was focused on just going on these flanks, catching them off guard, yada, 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 where I needed to play more with my team. I needed to play on these shorter off angles, especially on this map. Tracer's off angles are kind of a lot shorter than you would expect. I didn't need to take these 180 off angles. Now, it is fine to be on a 180 off angle if you're already set up for that. If I was already set up here, that would be fine, but I took my time to come all the way over here and wrap around. I was coming from spawn, so I didn't want to go right there. The fight was occurring right here. Going this way is going to take myself out of the fight way too much. And I just put myself in danger. My recall's forced. Now I'm going to continue to be out of the fight. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not a threat. Well, I am a threat, but like I'm an easy threat to deal with right now. See, I'm not marking the Tracer. She's able to get to my backline for free. I mean, look, I could continue with this VOD, but I think it's pretty clear. I'm fairly certain this is essentially what I do the entire game. And again, this is what happens when you queue when you're in bad mental. I ended up logging off after this game because I caught myself. Plus, my mechanics were just not there. Yeah, I had bad mechanics, but that wasn't the reason why I was playing so poorly. I was playing so poorly because my uptime was garbage. I took myself out of the fight way too much going on these flanks. I was trying to force things. That's what happens when you play on alt accounts with your buddies. And I don't play heroes I'm good at. Okay, I'm legit probably like a gold Echo at best, plat Echo at best. You start to form bad habits. So these flanks would work in those low elos, but not in this situation. I needed to take the fight much sooner. I needed to set up with shorter flanks, shorter off angles. I kept on because they're playing dive. They're able to get up much sooner. The routes that I would take would be fine if they were playing brawl because they wouldn't be pushed up like they were. But I need to take a second and look at what my team is doing and what the enemy team is doing. If I did that, I would have hopefully made a better decision. So let's see. I am taking a lot of aggro here. But the difference between their Tracer and my Tracer's positioning, you'd be like, oh, well, this is good. You know, you're taking attention and stuff, but I'm so easy to mark right now. And I can't get help from my support. I can't go back and get help from my support, which is fine. But the difference is that if their Tracer decides to come and aggro on me, they will have follow-up on their supports, whereas I will not. And that's a very important thing to think about when there's a Tracer mirror. If there wasn't a Tracer, I wouldn't really be worried about that because if they come to chase me, they're not going to be able to catch me. I'll be getting a lot of value just, you know, pulling attention. But this Tracer at any moment can just take me out because they have support and I don't. So that's why in a Tracer mirror, generally taking, not always, but taking those shorter off angles is more valuable than going on those deeper off angles. And not only that, the shorter off angles will allow me to stage for those dives with my Winston. I'll be able to see what's going on, what he's deciding to do, what he decided to do. And I think I just happened to get value from his bubble because I just happened to be there, not because it was intentional. I was way too focused on this Tracer. Their Tracer's not on any dangerous off angle. They're not a threat right now. Yeah, I just get fucking diffed.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
All right, our tank just spawned. Again, I'm going on. Okay, I thought I was going on that long ass flank. I was going for that pulse. I like that pulse. I like that I didn't have to recall to disengage.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
I need to be shooting the tank. Shoot the tank. But I also don't want to drop right there. If I was going to drop right there, I need to be shooting the tank, not the tracer right there. The tank was low. A clip and a half, and he's dead. Again, I'm putting myself in a position where I have to use a lot of resources to get out. I could be shooting the tracer from up here, the carry from up here, though like the carry's kind of far, the tank's pretty far. But I need to be rotating this way and setting up the off angle and playing around here, and then maybe make my way over here as the fight progresses forward. But what I do here is not what I should be doing. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna stop the VOD right there. So a couple things that I need to work on is paying attention to what my team is doing, where they're going, where their position, and paying attention to where the fight is actually occurring, and not just autopilot to my normal routes. Take shorter off angles when that is what is necessary, instead of taking my time to go all the way to their back line. I need to make, if I'm going to make my way to the back line, I need to make my way to the back line kind of like Frogger, right? One lane at a time. As I'm making my way there, I'm providing pressure and value in other ways. You know, I don't want them to fight a 4v5 for the first 5-10 seconds of the fight, because those first 5-10 seconds is incredibly important. When that is happening and I'm not there, the enemy team's able to force more cooldowns on my team, and we don't want that. And target priority, just kind of paying attention to what's going on, not letting their tracer dictate on what I'm doing. Anyway, I know that was kind of fast. Again, this was kind of a game this was a game that I was, bad mental. My mechanics were just not there. So I don't want to harp on like my micro too much. But if you were paying attention to what their tracer was doing, maybe go back and rewatch it and just ignore what I'm doing, mute it. Just pay attention to what their tracer was doing. They were doing what I should have been doing the entire time. They didn't go on these long flanks at all. There's a reason why I was able to walk for free every time I went on these long flanks, is because they weren't going on those long flanks because they knew better. They knew that that's not what they needed to do. The fight was not happening over there, it's happening here. Hope you learned something. GG's.